Blog Talk Radio.
Shalom, Lekulam. Peace to everyone. Welcome to the Reset Button Season 3. This season, we welcome the listener to join us while we journey through Isaiah, one of the most controversial books in the Word. We would like to accomplish understanding of the salvation of Israel mentioned. Is it one spoken of in the New Testament? Is it someone we're waiting on? Or is it in the past? Walk through this with us as we attempt to uncover this mystery. The call-in number is 516-595-8238. And press 1 at any time that you have questions or that you would like to leave a comment. Our collective email is histaught1talkradio@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is His Taught Ones and His Taught Ones Talk Radio. We also have the YouTube page at His Taught Ones Talk Radio. Subscribe and we'll be posting our episodes every week. Shalom and have a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another season of His Taught Ones. Talmidim, yo, here we go, back at it again. You did, yourself, Shema and some friends. We learned hard through better sheets. The Melechim now, fresh start to what is hot. I never yin, here come the prophets. They're dropping some knowledge, abolishing doctrines, apology nonsense. They bring the word, you can call them the pinpoint. Given by the hand of the head, he is the pinpoint. Or could it be it's another? So many distances from the children, it's a misnomer. Honestly, the aroma is hideously unbearable. There is no one accord. How dare we say that we're hearing you? I don't want to see.
Kadosh Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Anachnu modim lecha al yom nosaf we al milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barech bivakasha et ha-mifkash hazeh. Please bless this gathering. Bo'u nishmiah. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Shalom, shalom. This is Yosef Hader Order Dean, and I have the two other panel members with me, which is Yedidah and Shemaiah Ben Yael. And today we're going to go a little bit off course. I know this would have normally been a rest show, and those are very much appreciated. We love those. But our brother Yedidah will not be with us next week, and I really wanted him to be a part of this show. So I made an executive decision. You know, I was the host. I can do that type of stuff, I guess, every now and then. I can't do it all the time. But I made this executive decision this time. So with that being said, I hope that's not an inconvenience for anybody or that it doesn't, sorry. I hope it, doesn't spoil somebody's plans that they had. If they, we'll be back to regular. The next show that we have will be a rest show. So we won't wait for a whole another 4 weeks for a rest show. What else? All I gotta say is I hope this is a good show. Well, I know it's gonna be a good show. I know how it everything is usually good. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so there's a lot of information. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. That's my opening statements, and I'm going to pass the floor to Shemai if he wants to give opening statements, and then Yediah, you can go right after that. And I think that's the way we'll do the order. It'll be me, Shemai, and Yediah for today. So Shemai, you have the floor. You might be on mute, Shemai.
I'm really not on mute. Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, I was speaking the whole time. My phone was off mute. I don't know what happened. But I guess I'll just start over. Well, I won't say what I said in the beginning, but I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I'm excited for the show, as usual. Don't have a lot of points, but the points that I do have, I think should really be looked at, observed, broken down, meditated on, X, Y, Z, all of the above. And I'm looking forward to see what these brothers bring to the table, and anyone else that's called in right now. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts as well, or comments, or anything. And with that said, I yield.
Hi, shalom, everybody. This is Brother Yediah. The issue was none of our mics was on. So I'm on the switchboard now. I cut our mics on. We good to go. I'm happy to be here today. I know it's a lot of information that's within these 3 chapters. Hopefully we can move through them smooth and quickly. Not too quick, but quick enough to where we're not wasting a whole bunch of time on some things, so we can actually get through all 3 in a timely manner. With that being said, I'll cut my opening statement short, and I'll wait to the end.
All right. So this is the way I'm going to kind of do this. We're going to keep the same format for the most part as last week. We're going to see how this works. This week it's going to be maybe a little bit more difficult for myself with my first point, because it kind of linked in for a group of chapters because I wanted to be able to read it, but I guess after that it'll be okay. If that's okay with the panel members, I wanted to kind of, I'm trying not to read everything. I'm not going to read everything because it was going to be like I had some points between 1 and 9, but I'm not going to read 1 and 9, and I'm not going to bring in points from 1 to 9. But I think my first point, I think I wanted to at least read the first couple of them, a couple verses, because honestly, this is one of the chapters. 42 is one of the chapters that if you look up and you was to Google Messianic prophecies, it's going to send you to Isaiah 42. I had it wrote down in the book because I had wrote down all Messianic prophecies at one point, and this was one of them. One of the chapters they send you to. So that's why I wanted to be a little bit more detailed and more meticulous about this, because it's something that I feel is important, and that's only if the other 2 panel members, is fine with that, or if they have a better way to utilize the time, because I do want to make sure I'm in the time constraints too. So what I'm gonna say, because I'm telling you, this is to you guys. I had 1 through 9 highlighted. You know what I'm saying? So, what do y'all think? Would be a good, way or to handle that?
I'll just go ahead.
Have any thoughts?
I'll follow suit. I follow suit. I mean, I have my points within that too. So just take the floor. I don't know. That's me speaking though. I don't know what you did. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's just see how you approach it. I have points within those too. I think it's probably an overall point within it. I know the biggest thing is to identify who this servant is. Like you said, this is one of those messianic prophecies, or what is identified to be a messianic prophecy.
Right.
I think today is going through this is really the biggest thing is to figure out whether it is or it's not. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, and I think that's really I wouldn't say objective, but it's we're going through it contextually. So at this point, what we have known to be in the past, based off of any prior teachings and understandings that was had previously, this is one of those reset moments to figure out is that teaching valid or not based off of context. So, I'm, like Shema said, I think as you go through, we'll just, I guess, jump in that sequence whenever we need to. It'll probably be a little hard to do, but I think, overall, we'll make it through it. So I would just say go ahead with what you got, and as you approach parts that we want to address within our notes, then we just jump in, I guess.
All right, I got you. So, I thought of a way that might be, since both of y'all have points in there, I thought of a kind of a way that might be a little efficient. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the first two verses, and then I'm just gonna stop. And y'all got something within the first two verses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, verse 1 particularly.
General. Yeah, okay. Both y'all, you got 1 and 1. You got something in 1, Jamal?
I got 1 and 2.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read 1 and 2. I'm gonna say what I got to say, then I'm gonna let y'all have at it. Then we'll go from there. So I don't get too far deep, and I didn't want to get. We can focus on that first. So I'm gonna read it in the KJV if that's just for right now. This is what I'm gonna do, because this is how everybody else hears it and has been hearing it for years, so it might be easier for the ears. All right, in 42 it says, "Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the streets." That's what it says verbatim in KJV. So it's that's like I said, it's one of the messianic prophecies. If you just Google it, because I just Googled messianic prophecies one time, and when I read it, it just made sense. I mean, behold my servant whom I behold, my soul delighteth. I put my spirit upon him, bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. And I would not say it's not a messianic prophecy, but I want to focus on who the servant is. So I just wanted to go back one chapter to what we read last week in 41, and in 8 it says, "But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I had chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend." And then if you go to 10, it says, "Fear thou not, I am with thee. Be not dismayed. I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. I will help thee. I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." So if you go back to 41, it says, "My servant whom I uphold." And it just lets you know whom the servant was in 41. And you got to remember, it was no 41 and 42 when this was wrote. It was just wrote. Okay? So that's my context. You know what? I didn't even give context. I guess I was so excited about going into the chapters. Just know we finna talk about the servant. How about that? And I'm gonna relinquish the floor to Shema, and then after that, yeah, you got it. Then I'll comment off of that, and then Shema, you can go at your point, and we'll do it just like that. I just wanted to kind of start it off.
Okay, so am I doing just a context and then point next, or doing just both together?
I mean, you could reply for what I got. You can, you know what I'm saying, you got something for 1 and 2 also. So basically, since you had something for the same thing, just kind of, it'll be looped in, and my reply won't be your points, your actual, you'll basically be picking another point when your point comes through. So
all right.
If I brought out 1 and 2, you kind of bring out what you got on 1 and 2, reply what I got, whatever you want to do. And then y'all do the same. And then when they come back around, you know what I'm saying,
okay, I got you.
Whatever.
So what I wanted to point out, I'm going to point out something a little different. I don't want to be redundant, say the same thing, because he brought it out perfectly. But what I want to bring out is the lingo. I want to bring out the poetic speech, which we've been showing in times past, how he would refer to, Israel as a he and a she, depending on the subject at hand. But what I want to point out in mine, it says, "Behold, my servant whom I shall uphold, my chosen one." The reason, the people that's listening probably got a grasp of like, okay, so why do you want to pinpoint that? I'm pinpointing it for those that might not have a grasp. When they read that, they say chosen one. The mind operates because of how we think over here is this is one particular person. Some people could think one particular person, but what we have seen is how the Most High through Scriptures has spoken, and we saw He brought us back to 41, and we see that in verse 8, like He brought out, says, "Israel is my servant, whom I have chosen." Right? You continue, and in verse 9 it says, "You are my servant, I have chosen you." Now, here's the question. Well, not the question. Here's something I want to bring out. I have chosen you. A lot of times, I think me and Yadir, y'all brought this out. I think Yosef agreed, or he added to it. I'm not sure. When we think of you, we just think of we're talking to one person. But in Hebrew, and even in English, it can be one of two types of yous. It could be a ta, which is an individual you, or it could be a tim, which is a mass of people you. And in this context, when he says you in chapter 41, verse 9, he's talking about them collectively because he just said, "Israel is my servant. I have chosen you." That should be a tim. And the reason I'm bringing it out, we're going to learn Hebrew in here too. I'm bringing it out because we need to understand when we're picking these verses like Yosef just brought out, he typed in Messianic prophecy. It takes us right to this. And I want to bring this out of the loop because it brings us to this. And if you read this, it says you're my servant. That sounds like it's talking to one person, but the context of the matter is everybody or Israel as a whole. And that's all I want to add to that without sounding redundant in what you brought out already.
Yeah, so I really don't have anything extra to add. I will say it does in the Hebrew say ata, but we know that it's talking about collectively as a whole because when it says Yisrael in that text, I'm reading from the Sepharia today. It says, "You whom I drew from the ends of the earth." This is chapter 41 and 9. From the earth, and called from its far corners, to whom I said, "You are my servant, I choose you. I have not rejected you." As he said in context, it's talking about Yisrael, but this will continue to reveal itself as we go through the chapter, so I'm not going to elaborate too much right now, but y'all will see what I'm talking about when it comes to plural and singular, because Yisrael is singular, so it has to be coupled, you know what I'm saying, subject, verb, subject, noun, subject, adjective, all those have to agree in the Hebrew. So you might see it in singular form, but when you know it's not talking about Yisrael, it's talking about them as a whole, as the brother said, collectively as one person. You know, that concept may not be easy to grasp in the English mind, but in Hebrew it is to be understood that Yisrael, the descendants of Yisrael, but we're going to see it. I'm going to bring it out. It's going to make more sense as we continue. That's all I have as of right now.
All right. Since both of y'all spoke on basically my point, y'all points collectively, Shema, your turn. You can bring out a point that you have anywhere. It doesn't have to go in order.
Okay, I was muted. No, I really, in this chapter, that's one of the major ones I wanted to bring out. Really didn't have too much in this chapter. I just wanted to bring that one out because that's a major belief. And I wanted to shed some light on that one. What I want to bring out then in verse 8. Y'all could, comment on that. Verse 8, it says, I am Yah. That is my name. I shall not give my glory to another, nor my praise to graven idols. Nor my praise to graven idols. This goes in context with a chapter in Deuteronomy. I don't know offhand. I know that Yediah more than likely know what I'm talking about because I think he's actually sent me a screenshot of this. When in Deuteronomy or Devarim, Yah has said something about there is not another God, or your idols is not a Elohim or an Elohim or a God. And he associated that with being a God. You recall what I'm talking about, Yediah? When he was saying, like, they're not gods, he was telling them that. I forgot where it was in Devarim. I'll have to go back and see what you sent to me. But basically what I'm trying to bring out here is he's saying his glory is not to go to another, and his praise to graven, nor my praise to graven idols. So I thought it was interesting how he was associating the praise and the connection between those idols. That's all I really had for that one. I just wanted to point out that he said his glory will not go to another. So you got to wonder, like, what does he mean in that aspect? Because he gets glory through his messengers, it's through a servant. Glory comes through us because, he uses us or whatnot, but is he speaking from a standpoint of another God, another divinity on his level? What is he speaking on when he says that? That's what I want to put out there as a thought. Not really a question, but it's a thought.
All right. So the actual scripture is Devarim 32 and 21. And I'm just going to read. I don't even know what version this is, but I'm just looking at the screenshot. But it says, they have made me jealous with what is not Elohim. They have provoked me to anger with their idols. So basically, the gist of this, or the ideal or concept of this, is him saying that these idols, that they call Elohim are not Elohim. Like, it might be what the people are saying is Elohim, but he's saying, you made me jealous with what is not Elohim. So what we may consider as Elohim, to him is not Elohim. He said, they have provoked me to anger with their idols. So the idols, they might be called Elohim, or it might reference them as Elohim in the text, but to the Most High, he's saying that's not Elohim. But that's going to come out even more as we go through this context as well. So y'all just keep that in mind, and then when I start bringing these points out, I'm going to refer back to that. And
that was the reason I brought that out, too, because he said, I won't give my glory to another. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm glad you brought that scripture showing how the idols could be looked at as Elohim, but to him, I'm not giving my glory to another at all. I am the glorified one. I am he, who causes to exist. That is it.
Right, and that's a great point. And with that said, I'm going to move into my point, one of my points that I had. I'm going to skip this point right here. I'm sure O going to hit that one, so I'm going to leave that alone. In verse 5, it said, thus said God, the Lord, which is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth. So, simply, this is just saying that Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that goes along with not giving his glory to another. So that I'm going to just bring that little part and couple it with Shema. And then I do have other points, but I'm going to relinquish the mic right now.
Okay. I'm working through a couple different screens and stuff like that. So I want to comment on the glory thing, because Shema said that you see that he had given glory through his messengers. I don't want to misquote you. So if you can, just let me know that's kind of what you said or what you meant, just so I can kind of make sure I'm not going off on a tangent. Shema.
Well, it was more so like a thought putting out there in the form of... No,
I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I just was trying to make sure I wasn't misquoting you. And I understood what you were saying. And I'm not refuting it.
No, I didn't make a statement, though. That's what I'm saying. I just was like, what is he saying? I'm asking. It was more so like, what is he saying? And, yeah, I wasn't saying this is what it is or this is what I think it is. So you free to speak, basically.
Okay, well, I think it's understanding what the word glory means, which beyond esteem or what's another synonym? Esteem is the only one I got in my head right now. So I don't know any other way to put it but esteem. But so I kind of want to say the word like praise. Does that sound? Can that be viable for the same thing?
This is what I, you know what I'm saying. If you ask for feedback, I got some feedback. So praise is a synonym, but I think one that is more probably more valuable to what is being said would be renown or fame or prestige. So because he's saying I won't give my prestige or fame to another, because if you really pay attention to a lot of these messages that is coming through these prophets, he's always talking about how he the one that created the heaven and earth. He always talks so that would be something that is credited to him. But if we notice when they came out of Mizraim, they said this is the one that brought you out. So they given his something, his accomplishments, to something else. And that's what he's hitting on. Like, oh, you saying this is Elohim? You saying this thing right here, this statue, is what created heaven and earth? You saying that this graven image, this bull, brought you out of Mizraim? No, I did that. You can't give my renown, my fame, my prestige to something that had nothing to do with what you saying it did. And you know what I'm saying? I'm a file back because I'm getting a little excited. But that's what it is in my eyes.
I mean, I was about to basically you did a great job of basically giving a greater example than how I was able to word it. So exactly what he's saying, and I think like if we look at it like in that way, it would make a lot more sense. And then you have to understand the fact that he is telling you, okay, I did this alone, but the folklores or fables or other cultures, stories of creation of heaven and earth stemmed from multiple things and a correlation of multiple gods, and actually a lot of it had dealt with sex to create the earth. Like two gods would have sex, and then the earth was created. In one concept, it was two gods fighting, and one god killed the other god, and he stretched out, did all that extra stuff to him. So it usually would take multiple type of interaction to create this. And the biggest thing about Israel and then their belief was that it didn't take multiple. All it took was one. And that's all you needed. And he was the only one, and this is the reinforcement. So I think a lot of times when it's said, we don't understand that what's going on at the time. They're dealing with idolatry and different gods and different cultures, and all the other cultures had multiple gods, and their story of creation was not our story of creation. It might even have a couple jargons or some words that sounded like, but it wasn't a one sole thing creating it, and it was no sex involved to create it. Okay, that's different. Everything about the Israelite culture was different. So, just a little history feedback or whatever you want to call it, just to go along with that, and then I can move on if nobody else had anything to say. And I don't believe anybody. Q, I looked like a second ago, I didn't see anybody. So I guess I'm going to my point because he brought out his, and I'm gonna go in order because it helps me. So I'm gonna read 3 and 4. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax he shall not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. All right, and then the one before that in verse 2 it says he'll be judgment to the Gentiles. But we already know in context we're talking about who this is. It's the servant, which is previously just said was Israel or Jacob. And it also gave you some of the same similar words that he used for Israel or Jacob as far as upholding him and choosing him and stuff like that. And then it says that basically he's going to bring judgment. And then it says in 4, he shall not fail nor be discouraged till he has set judgment on the earth. And the owls shall wait for his law. Okay? Like I said, a couple of things to look at is the fact that it says he shall not fail nor be discouraged till he has set judgment on the earth. I haven't looked at that word, if it was the land or earth, but that's something I should look into also before I make any deeper statements. because we already know how they use words and how it could mean it could possibly be bring judgment to the land. Because we haven't seen a point where the whole earth has seen any type of judgment. As a matter of fact, we haven't even, I'm talking about in history, I don't think we've seen a point where just, except for maybe like the beginning, but after all that, we're a point where everybody kind of doing right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, matter of fact, even when they first started going, they really almost ain't never just did right 100%. Now, he left people in the land to provoke them to see if they was going to do something, and they did, and they continue to do it. So, whatever. And, so that was a big thing for me. He shall not fail, he shall not be discouraged until he is established, till all the laws established. That's a big thing for me either way of whoever the servant is, especially if it says it's on all the earth, because if this is supposed to be on all the earth, all the earth has never followed his law. Okay, so possibility, without me looking into any of the Hebrew right now, possibility that could be land, and possibility that this could be some form of real later prophecy or whatever is done. So just keep it in mind, and I'm gonna stop right there. That'll be 2 verses that I brought out, and I'll pass the mic. Shema.
Yeah, I don't have anything in anything else in this chapter.
Okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, I say I pass the mic, and then since it'll go to you right after me, if you don't have any comments on anything that I've said, because you might have a comment. I don't want to skip over you if you know, just in case you have something that you want to add. Something might come to you, and then then y'all know what that you don't have anything and to pick it up. It's cool. Sound cool? Cool.
All
right.
I would say, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm following along. I really don't have nothing to add to what you said right now. I'm just, following you. And when I feel it's necessary to add something or anything like that, I'll do so. But currently I don't have anything, so I'm going to move on to another point that I saw. I did want to comment, though, on the part that was said about I would not yield my glory to another, nor my renown to idols, that I didn't say last time I had the opportunity. But he said, I am the Lord. So I am, and that's Ani. So y'all know Ani, not a higher or anything like that, which is really actually Eye, which is I will be, but it is Ani. So when we see I am in the Hebrew, that is actually, even in biblical Hebrew, this has nothing to do, there's no separation with this from biblical and modern. It's Ani. So he says, Ani Yod He Waw He. So who Shmi, so he's saying that is his name. That is my name. Shmi is my name. So he's saying that Yod He Waw He is his name, so therefore it should be no confusion on what his name is. I just wanted to say that before I went into this other point that just came to my mind. But it says, all right, I want to bring this out. In verse 12, it says, let them do honor to the Lord, Yod He Waw He, and tell his glory in the coastlands. Now, what I believe we should know is that the coastlands are who they are telling of his glory, right? And this seems to match the ideal of Isaiah 42:1. So let's go back up and let's read that again. This is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, in whom I delight. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall teach the true way to the nations. Let me see where. And we're going to see this coastland come up again. This is the ideal of them going and telling of his glory. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and here you notice, let them. Okay, so this is plural. This is a group of people. But up top, it says, my chosen one, I put my spirit upon him. So that seems to be singular. But, like I said, as we keep moving forward, it's going to continue to come out. So that'll be my short little point for now.
Hey, what? Real quick, I know you brought out a different point, but what was the verse for the I am Yahweh or Yod Hey Why?
That is in verse 8.
Not 5, it's 8. Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. So now I know.
My bad. I have a handful, 2-3 things
Well, you
at
said
one
verse
time.
8. I don't see that. We in
Say
43, right?
Hold
You
on.
in chapter 43?
Hold on. Let me go back.
I see everyone who is called by my name.
That is 42. 42 and...
Oh, 42. Okay.
And 8. Yeah, we still at 42.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
My bad. I was on the wrong tractor. You'll see why I asked that question.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Give me 2 seconds. Set myself up for success. 2 seconds. All right, now I'm ready again. So, I guess I'll go into my next point. I guess y'all kind of feeding off of me. So, going to, I'll say 5 and 6. I'm going to do 5 and 6. Thus says God the Lord, He has created the heavens and stretched them out. He has spread forth the earth that was cometh out, and He giveth His bread to the people upon it. And the Spirit to them that walketh therein. I want to stop right there. And this is just a concept that is something that I've kind of grown into over the last couple of months. So I'm just gonna, when I read it, this is just kind of put it on you. The way I look at spirit is not always the way that the conventional person might look at spirit. So I'm not looking at when it says, and it gives the Spirit to them that walk in it therein. I'm not thinking of this being an aspect of, I'm just going to say like the Holy Spirit, like what people might think. So the breath is spirit, and the fact that you have breath, you have is spirit. Okay, so to me, everybody got his spirit. And when you take your spirit back, that's your breath. You gone. You dead. When you breathe, you breathing in this spirit. Okay? That's how I think. I think he is everything, and you can't breathe without him, when he decides he don't want to give you himself the breath anymore, you won't breathe. You won't have his spirit. And whatever breath that you have, your last breath, it's his. That's just my thought. So, and I'm pretty sure, maybe one of them might have something to comment off of that. And I'm just going to read the next one. And then, I'm just going to read 5 or 6. It says, I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness. It's back to the servant. He called the servant in righteousness, I think. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Unless I'm wrong, you somebody might correct me. But when I read it, I said, I have called thee, the servant, because that's what he was talking about in context, and righteous I will hold thy hand and keep thee and give thee for a covenant of the people for a light of the Gentiles. Uh-oh. He just said he about to give the servant, Israel, as a covenant to be a light unto the Gentiles. That destroys everything I thought before, but I'm going to stop right there and see what these lovely brothers on this line, if they have anything to say, according to those. And then, after you speak or whatever, you can bring your points out also.
Okay, not sure if Shemai wanted to comment on that, so I don't want to jump line or skip line.
Go ahead, you good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so I just want to read from the version. Like I said, I'm reading from a different version today. It's the Sephria. It says in verse 6, which kind of...
I love that version, by the way. I just want to say that. I love that version. Go ahead, though.
All right. It says, I, the Lord, in my grace, have summoned you. We know that they were called out of Mitzrayim, right? And I have grasped you by the hand. I created you and appointed you a covenant people, a light of nations. I don't know which one because I didn't go into the Hebrew really,
but it's saying the same thing. Is it a comma there?
Yeah, it's a covenant people, comma, a light of nations.
But it says, and I grabbed you by the hand.
Period.
And then it's period. Okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to read it with you.
I created you.
And
I created
will keep
you,
thee. That's what mine say.
Appointed you a covenant people, a light of nations. So the concept, I think, is the same there, but depending on who's reading it, you know what I'm saying, it might sound a little different, like I gave you as a covenant instead of a covenant people, saying that, basically the ideal I'm getting from this version is that I made a covenant with y'all. Like, you're a covenant people. You know what I'm saying?
That make a little bit more sense.
Instead of it being like, I basically, when you think of I gave you as a covenant, it's like some people's mind might go to as like I gave you like a sacrifice. I'm about to sacrifice you or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think of covenant, you think of, I believe the word is brit. It comes from a root of cut, and a lot of people associate that with giving up like the blood of the covenant or whatever. So you think of death, you think of a sacrifice when you're dealing with that, but we know that he made a covenant with them, and for them to be a wise nation, and for people to look upon them and say, oh, this is a wise nation, like, let's take upon their ways type of deal. So to this is bringing that ideal, that substance, that foundation, that concept out to me a little bit more than just saying I gave you as a covenant or whatever. So that's my comment on that. Y'all could give me some feedback before I go into my next point if y'all want to.
I just want to say about that, in the KJV it say, and I gave thee for a covenant. So it does perpetuate a different meaning when I read for covenant. Like it just kind of changes the meaning with a couple words. That's all I was gonna say.
Okay, and I'm not saying the KJV is wrong, because I would be wrong to say that because I didn't parse it myself. But I'm just saying with all the previous things that were said and the foundation of what he did for them or what their purpose was, you know what I'm saying, that makes a little more sense to me just to be said that way. So, but until I parse it, I can't say which one is more accurate based off of the Hebrew. So, you know, you could take it with a grain of salt, what I'm saying. You know, it's not set in stone, but it just makes more sense to me. But my next point, we got Mercy in the queue. Y'all want to go ahead and let Mercy in?
Sure. Sure. Because we went through a little bit, and you're good with your points, and but I'm gonna say this, Mercy. Be mindful because we're trying to get 3 chapters in. I know you're coming real deep, so don't kill me when we put it on here with the super deep, because I have a couple more points in this chapter also. So we're gonna bring you in intermediately so you don't have to wait for all the points to come out, because it's
hey, matter of fact, before you let them in, because this is real short and sweet.
Okay.
And this is the last thing I got. That way you could just push it. If we got comments, we'll comment on it. So
hey, that'll work for me.
In 21, it say, the Lord desires his servant vindication, that he may magnify and glorify his teachings. So I just wanted to read that just for the simple fact that it's talking about, I know you got I skipped over the whole who is blind. I know you're going to hit that. I do have comments. For that. But I just wanted to, read that. So, I'll let you take the flow after that because, yeah. So you can go and let Mercy in.
All right, give me 2 seconds, Mercy. I
got him. Brother Mercy, you're live.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath, brother.
Lecha.
You know what? I'm going to go with I'm going to take a little a detour. He said, I will keep you and make you to be a covenant. I like that one because they have to look at us for the covenant. Because, see, what the Christian church got today, they got a covenant, but it ain't from Israel. So we have to be the covenant. We have to be the actual covenant. You know what I mean? So in other words, not only are we the examples of the covenant, I'm learning. That's what I'm hearing from this. We are the covenant. So they have to come through us.
Man,
so that's
don't do it, Mercy.
Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Don't do it to him, because I swear I'm going to say this. I was thinking more so like Brother Mercy was thinking. And I can see it both ways, but I was seeing it more so as him saying is like we an example to everybody else. If, let's say, let me say this. you know, I have to look into some Hebrew and stuff like that. But if he's talking about I want the whole earth to see, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all I'm going to say is I'm starting to think that he whooping us and making us go through all this so he can be like in the end. I was like, well, you don't want to be like them. You see what I did to them people. I'd have had them scattered and all over the place, and they was the worst. Y'all don't want to follow? Y'all don't want to follow me? Y'all don't want to. Same thing to y'all. At the end of the day, they would have to see that. You know what I'm saying? They would have to see this nation overcome and all that extra stuff. That's what I'm thinking. You know, I might be in the deep bucket with Brother Mercy, me and him over here eating Cheetos and playing video games on this one together. So,
because he said a light too.
Hey.
And he said a light too.
Right,
so when you think about a light is necessary, and you can't see without a light. So I believe the Gentiles are in darkness, and I believe he wants us to be the light. That's just my opinion.
And Revelation, like we're gonna be the ones, but to go back to like context. I'm gonna keep it right there, and then if you read it, read it. Number 1, it say, "Behold my servant, whom I behold my elect, my soul is alive. I put my spirit in him, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles." So, and then in 4 it says, "The judgment in the earth, the owl shall wait for his law." So it's showing to me like, all right, Israel got to do it right, and then they gonna disperse it to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So we are somewhat like covenant.
Hey, that's actually the one I was trying to go to for, not one. And the coast, in my version it say, "And the coastland shall wait for his teacher," right? And then when you go to 12, it say, "Let them do honor to the Lord and tell his glory in the coastlands." So that lets you know right there that servant is not a singular person. It's them. Let them do honor to the Lord and let his glory and tell his glory in the coastlands. So that's letting you know that their servant is them and not a singular person. But that's what I wanted to.
Right.
So that,
I'm rocking with that. I'm glad that you found. I'm glad I went back over it. So then you seen what it was. Because I had to highlight that. I was like, that was a good one. I ain't see that. Good job. Like seeing new stuff. Yeah, y'all be bringing it. So, Brother Mercy, that's a good point. I agree. That's the way I kind of see it. Like I said, I have to look deeper into it. And, I could change tomorrow. But that was a good one. I like that. And if you don't have anything else, you got something else, I can let you out and I can finish out this chapter. And then, if you see something else, hit the one, you know how it go. All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to take you out. All right. All right. Well, I'm sorry. Let me get back to my, what to call it. Okay. Now, I left off at 6. I'm at 7. To open the blind eyes. All right. And you talk about light. You said you need the light to see. That's what Brother Mercy just said. Now it says to open blind eyes, to bring out prisoners from the prisons, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Now, this is, like I said, I agree with Brother Mercy because he was talking about you need them to see. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking it's open his blind eyes and his prisoners and his darkness and stuff. I'm thinking that's metaphorically, but I'm going to keep on going to show you why I believe even more so. And we went over 8. And then I'm just going to read 9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare before they spring forth. And I tell you of them. Okay? So I like that, when he's telling, basically he informs them of what's coming. That's basically verified through prophets and so on and so forth. That's why we really, man, I ain't gonna go there. Okay, he just brought out 12. And 13, I had that one. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. Okay. I read that because of the analogy of them using, giving Yod-Heh, Wav-Heh attribute like a mighty man, calling him a man of war. We know these are figures of speech, okay? Because we know he's not a man, okay? So, I don't know if y'all had anything to say about that. I'm going down to 16. He's still speaking. And I will bring the blind by the way that they knew not. This is what I was talking about. And I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I'll make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. All right, he's talking about the blind. And you see what he mean by blind. I talk about like literally can't see nothing. But I'm going to keep going. In 18, I want to say in 17, he said they're going to be ashamed that they even went after them idols. That's what he say. Then at 18, hear ye deaf and look ye blind that you may see.
19. Because you skimmed past it, I thought you was going to get deep into it. So if I could, before you start, in 18,
okay,
just get this out. So he said, driven back in utterly shame shall be those who trust in an image, those who say to idols, you are gods. This goes back to what I myself and Shema was talking about in the beginning, about how giving his glory to idols. And this more so specifically showing what he's looking at in this particular time as an idol, because as time go by, things evolve. But in their time, the biggest thing that I'm seeing as the Most High addressing is them making these graven images and calling them gods. Y'all remember back when Yaakov, they went to, I believe it was either Bethel, the house of God, and he was like, put away your gods, or put away your graven, put away your idols, or whatever. I can't remember exactly what word was used there, but he was like, we going to the house of God, Bethel. So this has been a thing for a long time, them having these little statues and all that stuff and calling them gods. And we've seen that this way of thinking was not the way of the Most High from the Hebrew perspective of what they called Elohim. But it was some people confused based off of living in these other cultures or the culture they originally came from, because that's where Abraham came from when he left Ur the Chaldee, Babylon. When he left, his father was into these idols. His father was a idol worshiper. He left that. He said the Most High called him out of that so he could find what God really was. So the concept of these idols being gods stemmed from a long time ago, before Abraham even went on his journey to find the living God, because those idols don't have no life in them, and we're going to see it say that later on. So this right here is deep, but I just wanted to hit that a little bit before you move forward.
Good job. I like that one. All right, okay. 19. Who is blind? but my servant? That's a question. Or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Those are questions. All right. Who is blind as he that is perfect and blind as the Lord's servant? Then in 20 it says, now he's talking, he's telling them, who is blind as the servant, right? Who is the servant? Servant goes back to 42, which goes back to 41, and 10. And it says the servant is Jacob or Israel. That's in context. So now he's calling them blind. All right? Just read. And deaf is the messenger, blah, blah, blah. Seeing many things, but thou observest not. Opening the ears, but he hears not. Okay. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He was magnified a lot. We just talked about that, but I want to go to 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivers, for a spoil, and none sets restore. All right. So it's letting you know either characteristics of these people too. All right. It's saying that they blind. Forward, go ahead.
Whenever you're done with your statement, I got something to say. I just want to let you know before you get too far. Okay.
I'm gonna say he said they blind. Said they see many things, but they don't even know if they seeing. They basically saying seeing, but you ain't observing. Like that's a whole different feature. All right, that's the way this works. Like, yeah, I can see something all day, but am I observing it? All right, and opening the ears, but hears not. And you know, he ain't literally opening the ears, but you know what I'm saying. All right. And also saying, basically, it was in 22, says these people is robbed, spoiled, you know, they're in prison housing. All right. And so on and so forth. Those are characteristics. I'm going to let you go ahead. Because that's all I was basically saying is it's characterizing you. Go ahead.
All right. So, again, back to this servant thing, right? Like I said, the book going to reveal itself of who the servant's supposed to be. When you go back to it, it said, listen, you who are deaf, you are blind, look up and see. He said, who is so blind as my servant? So you got to ask yourself in your mind, whoever this servant is, the Most High just called him blind. We know this blind is a metaphor, meaning that they can't see, not literally blind, but saying that, like he said, you're not observing. When, like the part I brought out in 21, it say the Lord desires his servant vindication, that he might or that he may magnify and glorify his teachings. They not doing it. Therefore, they blind, they deaf. They not hearing. Shema, Yisrael. You know what I'm saying? It's telling them to hear, but hear don't just mean hear in Hebrew. It means to obey. So when he say, you have not heard me, he's not saying you have not heard me as like you don't hear what I'm saying. You have not applied what you have heard. Shema. We got a brother on the panel named Shema, masculine, past tense, heard, obeyed. If you ask him what his name means, that's what he gonna tell you. He ain't gonna tell you it just mean here. But so I just wanted to bring that out, and it shows you. So you got a decision in your mind that you got to make when you, whoever you attaching this servant to be, you got to call this servant blind. You got to call this servant deaf. So whoever you associating this servant to be, they blind and they deaf. That's all I wanted to say. And that's the book talking, not me.
Yeah. What happened? Where I stand? Okay, so these guys, I I just wanted to, read the last two, and then I'm done with my damn thing. Who gave Jacob for a spoil? And back to Jacob, and his people robbed, and Israel to the robbers. Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Exactly what he was just previously saying. Therefore, he has poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it has set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, and he laid it not to heart. That's it for 42. So we can move on, and if nobody has anything, let me check. I don't see nobody. So we can move on, and Shema, you can go with your first point, because I did kind of kick this one off.
So we're in chapter 43, correct?
Yes, I just wanted to notify y'all that Brother Mercer just went up in the queue. So
go ahead, open them on. Bring them in, I'm sorry.
All right, Brother Mercer, you're live.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's interesting that his servant is blind and deaf, asking a question. We know that any deformity would kind of disqualify you from the priesthood. And also, deformities usually came from the priest sleeping with whores. So he might be speaking sarcastically, saying, "This is my servant," because you can't be a priest if you got some type of deformity, So that disqualifies you. So if these servants are blind and deaf or handicapped, whatever, they can't be leading the people. So it could be a literal blindness, and it could be I don't mean, when I say literal, I don't mean physically, but I mean it could be that they don't know the scriptures, and they don't. I mean, we got servants today that do not know the scriptures, So I mean. But they pretend to, but they don't know them. So therefore, they're blind in a way. And any type of, I'll just say this: any type of physical ailment in the Old Testament would disqualify from the priesthood. So that's all I wanted to say. And that maybe this servant is what he's saying is that these servants you guys are listening to are the blind leading the blind, so to speak. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Brother Mercy, I took you out, and the drill, hit the one if you need to, but I'm gonna respond. I'm just gonna try to keep it. Well, I ain't see priest in none of that. I haven't read the word priest in 42, 41, or nothing like that, so I can't attach that to the servant as far as the literal priesthood. I just can't. But we already, like, if you go back and read 41 and 10, it tells you who the servant is, whom he uphold, and then it say it is Israel. So I'm thinking more so that right now Israel blind, and they not listening. They not listening. They not wanting to do us right, and that's what he was saying. But their job is up here. So he told them their job, like, this what they gonna do. This what they supposed to do. But they not even listening. They not seeing. They getting robbed. They don't want to even go. I done poured out my fury on them, and they ain't even adhering to it. That's what I see in 42. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just, I mean, I ain't got to go over the whole thing, but it's just like how he's speaking, but he's like sitting there saying, all right, this is what they supposed to do. Then he say, yeah, but who is blind as Israel? All this stuff they think they know and think they do, they don't know nothing. And they ain't following me. That's what I see. So, I mean, as far as like I can't touch the word priest in any of that, only because it's not fair. And I'm like at a point where I'm like, okay, I don't see it there. I can't be fighting nobody about what there was not. I'm not saying you right or wrong. That's not what it's about. I'm just saying I'm not gonna attach the word unless I see it. Any of you brothers got something to say before we rock folks?
I would just say, I'm more so leaning towards what you're saying, though I do understand the concept that he bringing out. If you want to take it to a spiritual manner, like, because, the servant is supposed to be basically bringing forth the word to the blind. And the blind are those that are not seeing his ways, or the deaf that are not hearing, which would mean obeying his ways. So he's calling them blind himself. So kind of like he said, the blind leading the blind. How are you going to lead somebody when you yourself are going in the wrong direction? I think that's more so what he was trying to present, or at least that's my way of seeing what he was presenting, not really saying that it had anything to do with the priest, but we know what priests are supposed to do. They are to minister to the Most High, and you can't do that with a deficiency, whether physical or spiritual. I think he was trying to cross-level spiritual with physical attributes in the Torah. That's me trying to understand him and not oppose him. So I don't know what he really was trying to say, but that's just what I took it from.
No, I ain't opposing. I'm just saying I can't attribute nothing, and I'm not. Like I say, I can't say he's wrong or not, and that's not what I'm doing. But I'm just saying to myself, I could see a spiritual aspect of it all day. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody knows, I could take it there, but on the literal aspect, that's just where I'm at. So what I'm gonna do is, Shema, you have the floor. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here talking with it on mute.
Oh, okay.
My bad, sitting here talking with it on mute. Okay, I got you. So I got a few points, man. So just chime in when y'all ready. And I'm going to take it slow. But I want to read, I'm reading from the Stonebridge Tanakh. And Stone Edition, not Stonebridge, sorry. And I thought it was quite interesting that that's pretty awesome, man. You using the just lost my train of thought, man. I'm sorry, y'all. The Safaria, because that's one of the things I study from like daily. It's a lot of good stuff in there. It can help your Hebrew too, everyone. So I kind of appreciate him doing that, man. I know he see like it right next to each other, the Hebrew right next to it. So I know that makes it awesome in his studies. So I just want to throw that out there for those that, love the language or want to learn it. That's a good tool. A lot of things in there, from prayers and all that stuff, not to like get on their ritualistic way or whatnot, but it helps me learn Hebrew. So it says in verse 1, and now, thus says Yah, your creator. So Yah is your creator, O Jacob, the one who fashioned you, O Yisrael. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Okay. Go down to verse 3. It says, for I am Yah, your Elohim. I am Yah, your Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. So Yah is letting us know who is our Savior. And when we go back contextually speaking, we saw a few instances where the people he sent saved them. So it goes back to what, I forgot which one of the brothers was saying, but the fame. Although these people he sent to save Yisrael were doing the quote-unquote saving, he still takes the fame and the credit. He is the Savior. Because guess what? If he didn't never send them, they would not have been saved. And he's the one that redeemed you. So we are redeemed. Or we technically, people won't agree with my terminology, and maybe I shouldn't even say this because I don't want to put nothing in your minds, but I want to put it out there and see what y'all say. We are, in essence, and I'm going to look it up, the Redeemer. I'll just sit that there for a minute and allow y'all to either think, like, what is he saying, and just ask, or, or just let it sit. Anybody have anything to say or anything within the first 4 verses before I...
Yes, I do. All right, so if you look at, say, in 3, it say, for I am, or for the Lord, I am your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. So it just gave you pretty much everything you need to know in one lump sum. So we know that Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh is their God. He is the Holy One of Israel, and he is their Savior. So I wanted to put that out, and then just one little small other note in 5, it say, fear not, for I am with you. That goes back to Emmanuel, God with us. He's letting them know that, hey, I'm with you. Y'all been acting up, but, I'm saying, I have a purpose for you. And we'll see it, I believe it say, we'll bring it out when we get to it, but I just wanted to put those 2 things out there, and I don't have anything until 10 after that.
All right. I wanted to ask a question to Shamar. He said, what was you said, he said, I have redeemed thee, and then you said something after that, so that will make us what?
The Redeemer.
Oh, I don't know if it'd be redeemed. The redeemed.
We are the redeemed. We're redeemed, yeah. But I ain't want to really speak on that right now. I just put that out there. I'm gonna show you what I mean, though. Give me once we're done with these 2 chapters, or once we get to the end of this 44. I'm gonna bring out what I'm showing.
Okay, that's cool. I ain't even tripping. I'll wait. I just was asking. But I wanted to say, I wanted to talk about the redeemed just a little bit, like what it kind of, that terminology. If you remember, like when Ruth, I did Ruth. No. Wow. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Noemi and whatever, man. Look, I'm having a brain contusion right now. But anyway, the action of being redeemed, right? So if say, for example, we use the example of a family member having to redeem certain sort of property and all that y'all remember that law And the next one in line has the wife and the property, the brother or whatever, or the kin, this, that, and the other. And all that belongs to them. So that's the law. And that's what this is, a metaphorical redeem. Like, I'm going to bring you back to be mine. Because you're going to be some wanderers. Basically, you're going to belong to nobody. But I'm going to bring you back. Okay? I'm going to redeem you. Or, I mean, because that's what it would technically be, because we was his in the first place. And you live the life in the same type of family. Well, most likely with the same type of inheritance, or even better than what you just had. So that's all I want to speak on that. He did already say that, they brought that up in 3 because I had 1 and 3. So it would be your points, I think, yeah.
All right. So I bring up one thing that I saw was in verse 10. That was my next point. It says, my witnesses are you. Witnesses, servant. We're going to see how this is brought together. So now it's witnesses. That's plural. My witnesses are you, declares the Lord. My servant, whom I have chosen. Going back to their chosen people. You know what I'm saying? Chosen one. Now we see this plural with the singular. My servant. My witnesses are one and the same. Whom I have chosen, to the end that you may take thought and believe in me. Faith, you know what I'm saying? Believe in me. He's saying that they don't have faith in him. You know what I'm saying? They are not hearing. Faith comes by what? Hearing. If you're deaf, you can't hear. You can't have faith. It's all coming together. And understand that I am he. Where is this? Let me see. Trying to see where it is in Hebrew. Yes. I am he. Ani who? Right? I am he. And it says before, lifnei, right? Before me, no God was formed, and after me, none shall exist. This, in other words, is saying that I am the first and I am the last. Because before me, no one was formed, so that's first. He's the first. After me, none shall exist. That's the last. I am the first and the last. That's just another way of saying it. None, verse 11, none but me, the Lord, besides me, none can grant triumph. So, without him, nobody but him is granting this redemption for Israel. So, that's my point. And that first and the last is going to come out a little bit later. But we can already see that's what he's saying right there. But he's going to actually say it within the text.
All right. Let me flip it through a couple different screens. I'll bring out one of my points. I'm just going to go to 5. And I just went, and it's going to be 5 and 6. It's, fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thee thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. And I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far and my daughters from the ends of the earth. That's the four corners. I will gather you from the four corners of the earth. Okay? This is before first exile. So we might see a gathering from the four corners. Be talked about with the before we get to a second exile, because you got to bring somebody back to exile them out again. I'm just saying. I just wanted to put that out there, and I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to, Shemai, you got something on them, and then yada yada, then Shemai, be your turn to go again if y'all, after y'all comment or whatever. I don't know if he's on mute.
All right, going to the next point. I didn't have anything to say on what y'all was saying. I just wanted to go down to. Did you have anything between 5 and?
Now just bring out what you got.
5.
I mean, just bring out what you got. It doesn't even. You just bring out any point that you have. It don't have to be in order. I just did mine in order so I don't have to forget what I wanted to say.
Hold on a second.
Am I not hearing something? Oh, I thought something was wrong with my phone.
Okay, I wanted to bring out something. I don't know what it says in KJV. I'm not there. But verse 7, I like how it's saying. It says, well, I can start at 6 because it's you got to get the full one. I will say to the north, give them over, and to the south, do not withhold. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Everyone who is called by my name and whom I have created for my glory. Again, everyone who is called by my name and whom I have created for my glory, whom I have fashioned, even perfected, to liberate the people who are blind though they have eyes, and deaf, though they have ears. What this says to me, verse 7 and 8, and this is Isaiah speaking, correct? This is the Most High speaking through him, I want to say. This isn't futuristic. And the purpose of me saying it is based off of what he's bringing out right now. He says, everyone who is called by my name, and I wish I had the Hebrew right there, so I should pull up the Safari too. I have created for my glory, whom I have fashioned, even perfected. So he's saying that he perfected them, even perfected, to liberate the people who are blind, though they have eyes, and deaf, though they have ears. So it is a group, and we know this. It probably sounds like a broken record speaking to the panelists or those that's normally listening in or calling in or speaking, but it's always a remnant. But I'm saying this for the purpose of those that study the Bible, who might believe, in these Tanakh days, there weren't people who he attributed as perfect. And we are afraid of that word, perfect or perfected. That's just my feeling. I feel like, my belief, sorry. We believe that I mean, we're afraid of it. We're afraid of that word. I believe that. I don't believe perfect in the sense that we look at it today is the way that they looked at it back then. I don't believe that, and I think that's where the misconception is. So I wanted to bring that out. I also want to go to verse 11. Because I don't have to go to verse 10. That's just saying the same thing over and over again. You are my witnesses, declares Yah, and my servant who I have chosen. Verse 11, I and only I am Yah, and there is no deliverer aside from me. That's deep. There is no deliverer aside from me. Anybody got anything to say on that one or about that?
Yeah, I had hit on that when I was speaking. I don't know if you caught it or not, but yeah, basically just letting them know that aside from him, like, there will be no redemption for them. So I guess I could throw this in there to bring it out a little bit more. But he says, where was it at? Oh, yeah, in 12, he said, I alone foretold the triumph, and I brought it to pass. I announced it, and no strange God was among you. You are my witnesses, declares the Lord. I am God. So it's in that, let me see. It say Ani El. So it's saying that it's elaborating on that ideal, saying that I believe this is actually talking about when he brought him out of Mizraim. But he said he foretold it, you know what I'm saying, and brought it to pass. That's the only time that he really brought them out like that, was out of Mizraim at this point. And he said he announced it, and no strange God was among you. You are my witnesses, declares the Lord. I am God. So he just basically, he keep harping on this idol, strange God concept that they had embedded in them. But he's showing to them, like, if you notice when they came out and they made it out and they was wandering, like, they wanted to go back to that concept. And so, but if you think about it, the whole time he was bringing them out of Mizraim, they didn't have no idol. But after they finally made it out, they want to say the idol did it. What was that idol when y'all was crossing that Red Sea? You know what I'm saying? Where was it at? All of a sudden, it was the idol that brought you out. So I just think he beating them over the head with this, saying that concept is stupid. Where was that idol when I brought you out? Was that idol in front of you when the sea opened up for you to cross over? Was the idol there when the frogs came and plagued the people? The lice plagued them? When Moses stuck his staff in the water and it turned to blood? Or when the death angel passed by and everybody died? What was that idol at? What was these little idols y'all calling God? What was they at during them times? You know what I'm saying? So there's something big to think about. I'm going to file back. I'm taking a little bit too much.
And I wanted to kind of, kind of skipped to 10. He said it's, beat over. But I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to keep beating you over the head because you're going to hear this term servant as we keep going forth. And let us not have no conversation in certain points without even considering what we reading here. That's all I'm saying. Because there's more talk, and I promise you I'm not here to say anything one way or the other as far as I'm not giving any, I'm not trying to explain that. I'm just reading. So as far as, and I'm going to continue to do the same thing I'm going to do, keep going through Isaiah. But you are my witnesses, says the Lord, and my servant, whom I have chosen. He brought that out, right? Just wanted to continue to let you know who the servant was, all right? He said it. He keeps saying it. He keeps saying it, all right? But he's giving them also plural, like Yediyah continues to bring out when he said the witnesses, and then he said, servant. But the servant will be talked about quite along the way from here on. This is the way the Most High is speaking at this point. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, was you complete with your point, Shema? And then I can tell you at this point if you have.
No, yeah, that's at 44. I'm sorry, yeah. With that one, I am good. I just had one major one, well, not really major, but just one in the beginning of 44 to bring out. So me at 43 is, I'm done with 43. Yes, sir. Because everything else is, he going and he telling us who we are, and who he is. So I would be just basically repeating what I'm trying to present or bring out. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Am I on mute?
No, you good.
You good. Yeah, I'm about to jump in. So I do have a point right here, but I think this point is more valid for what I want to say right now, and I got to get to this right now. I think it's time for me to say this. Verse 25. It is I who, hold on, is that it? For my own sake, wipe your transgressions away and remember your sins no more. That was powerful for me because it's basically telling me that it's saying that Yod Hey Wah Hey wipes away transgressions for his sake without any requirement. Because he's not asking them to do anything. The only thing he asked them to do is to basically, let me see, it says, then you keep reading down and say, help me remember, let us join in agreement, tell your version that you may be vindicated. That's the next verse.
Man, bro, you're going to have to stop. Go back up. Stop.
What?
Read 23, though, and 24. If you're going to talk about...
You read that.
Since you just said that...
Okay, you want me to read it in my version?
I read it. Thou hast not brought me small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with sacrifice. Thou hast not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money. Thou hast not filled me with fat of thy sacrifices, but thou hast made to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. Then he says, I am united, blotteth out your transgressions for my own sake. So just like he was saying about the sacrifices, he just said, you ain't even bring it. Like, I ain't even need, he just told you earlier he ain't needed in Isaiah 1. Now he repeats himself.
Right.
He's
So
saying, it wasn't because
is,
you did these things. Yep.
Right. And my point is, it said, help me remember. Let us join in argument. He's saying, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's just talk about it. Tell me your version. Tell me your side. What's going on? And this right here also is a key to relationship building. When you're trying to mend your differences, this is what they call be the bigger person does. Well, let's sit down. You know what I'm saying? Help me remember. Let's go over all the things. So this is also a relationship building class right now. Let us join an argument. You know what I'm saying? Let's reason. Let's sit down. Tell me your side. That you may be vindicated. Because that's what he said. He wanted his servant to be vindicated. That's what he wants. And it really has nothing to do with what they do, or sacrifice, or anything. That has nothing to do with anything. He said, for my own sake. And what is he really saying about that? Let's go up. 21. The people I formed for myself, that they might declare my praise. It's really all about them being his representation in the earth and glorifying him. That's why he don't want to give his glory to another. Because it's all about him. That's Israel's purpose. Their purpose is to glorify, to praise the Most High. That's why Moshe say, if you kill these people, I think Shema brought this up one of these last past shows. If I kill you, if you kill the people in the wilderness, this is what the people gonna say. That's his renown, his prestige. It's all about what is the people saying about me. Your image. Or associated with the Most High. Whatever they do is attached to the Most High because that is they Elohim. That's like when you look at it, I'm going to take it here because I feel led to go here. When you see all this good stuff happening and they do it in the name of Jesus, let's just say that. How that make Jesus look? Make Jesus look real good. Make him look good. If I had a big belly man that I was worshiping and my life was going good, it make that belly man look good. Big belly man look good because obviously big belly man got some power because my life is reflecting the blessings from me rubbing big belly man and giving him little pieces of meat and all that. So I hope y'all grasp that concept. I'm going to fall back.
Man, this guy said giving him pieces of meat. I was over here cracking up. Okay. Big belly man. Man, I forgot how we gonna go. I'm going back up. I believe it was something else I had way up here.
Hold on, while you think.
Okay.
Let me take Big Belly Man out the situation. But even when Elijah said, all right, do what you got to do for your guy, but if my guy bring fire out the sky, I got the better guy. So it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? People look at that stuff and say, okay. You know what I'm saying? And that will make people convert over, too, because they look at, you know what I'm saying, okay, he praying to this guy, And this is what's happening for him, and I'm over here suffering and all this. I'm finna convert over to this. All right, I'm done.
That was an excellent point. You will give attributes to what you see. And especially progression, always going to give attributes to, whatever they giving attributes to, whether or not that's Buddha or Allah or whatever it is, So, and they give attribute to, that same deity. I want to just comment off of what he's saying. If you notice, like, if you go up to a Muslim and you do the whoop whoop and they say, praise Allah, even if you was like, oh man, you're doing real good for yourself, they're gonna give praise to Allah. You go to anybody else, they'll praise, Krishna or whatever, whoever they do, and the attribute is given to the deity attached. The person, of course, talking to them. Now, if they believe in the same deity attached, they would say, the same. They would probably repeat it back. Yes, praise Krishna or whatever, and they would. That's the way it would be sought out and looked at. And every god there on and go on and so forth. So what he's saying is reality. I was gonna say something, I just changed my total mind. I didn't want to go down that road, but yeah, I won't go down that road. So I ain't have anything else to say for the last verse. Therefore, I profaned the princes of the sanctuary and given Jacob to the curse and Israel to the reproaches. Okay, so I brought that up to say, he's saying this is why they cursed, and these curses go back to Deuteronomy 28 already. You know what I'm saying? They already been started these curses. So I won't go down that road. And we're done with that chapter. I don't need to hearken on it. And we can keep on pushing. I don't see anybody in the queue. So there you are. You're the one who's going to open up with this one. It's worked out perfectly.
Thank you, my brother. So, just to start off with a little context, continuation of 43, where the Most High continues to assure that he is with his servant Yaakov, as we see in verse 1, which is my first point. But here, now, O Jacob, my servant. Oh, the servant has a name, and it's right coupled with it. Israel, that's another name of Jacob, whom I have chosen. For me, this is all that needs to be said, but let's jump down to 2 because it's within my same point. Thus saith the Lord, your maker, your creator, who has helped you since birth, fear not, my servant Jacob, Yisrun, whom I have chosen. That servant is Yaakov, a.k.a. Yisrael. That's my point.
Well, I will say he stole my first point. I was going to go right there, but that's cool. I wanted to just couple three with that, but I don't, because that would have been with my point, so kind of to reflect on what he's saying. He said, I will pour water upon him that is thirsty and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessings upon thy offerings. Okay. So he's saying he'll pour his spirit on the seed, on his seeds. It goes back to this 42 of 1. It was talking about the spirit being poured on the serpent. Now it has a name coupled with it. And he says the same thing that he said earlier. That's my coupling with what he was talking about. And I guess Shemai a chance to say, if he had anything to say, just to give him a couple seconds before I bring out my point. All right. In 6, thus says Yah, the King of Israel. Thus says Yah, the King of Israel. All right. He's telling him that he a king. But wait, don't they have a king? There ain't a kingdom type of thing right now. This is bigger than that. Okay? And he always wanted to be their king anyway. So, just something to think about. And his Redeemer, he already told you who he was earlier, Yah of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last. And beside me there is no Elohim. I don't know if that speaks volumes to anybody going through, if there's other gods or not. Isaiah is being very adamant about this. And that's my point in 6. So, I pass the mic. Hold on 1 second. All right, Shemai, you got the mic.
No, what I was trying to say is, he actually brought out I'm pretty sure all of us was about to bring on verse 1, and then you just brought out 6. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, go forward. Those was the ones I was bringing out.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Before we go forward, I want to say if anybody's listening online, the call-in number is 516-595-8238. That's 516-595-8238. We're going into the overtime portion. We're almost done. We've got this chapter left, so I don't think we need too much longer. It'll be cut off in exactly about a minute, but she just said 60 seconds. So that's 516-595-8238. And you don't have to say anything. All right, you got the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted to, before I go into a point, I wanted to say that, that's what I was talking about in 6, where it said, I am the first, I am the last. And there is no, which one is that? There is no Elohim but me. So, Ein Elohim. So, that just kind of sealed the deal with what I was saying about where it was alluding to the first and the last. So this right here, he actually says it. And he's saying that he's their Redeemer. And his name is in there. And he's the King of Israel. So all that in one breath. Just letting us know what his status is, or how the Hebrews felt like he spoke to them. Because this is literature of some Hebrew writer writing that this is what the Most High said to them. So from their account, them as witnesses, they witnessing to the people back then, but now as we read the literature, is witnessing to us. And what I'm hearing being witnessed or testified to is that he is the first and he is the last. Who is he? Yod Hey Waw Hey. And no one else is Elohim but him. So that's what I'm being witnessed. That's what's being witnessed to me. Okay. So let me go to my point. I guess in 5, Brother Mercy, I see you in the queue. Just hold tight. 5, I guess I'll bring this out. It said, one shall say, I am the Lord's. Another shall use the name of Jacob. Another shall mark his arm of the Lord and adopt the name of Israel. Depending on how deep into this you want to look, we can go. But I'm just going to leave it at this for now unless somebody open it up for more conversation. These are the things that the offspring of Israel shall do. Because it says, and they shall sprout like grass in verse 4, like willows by watercourses. Who is they? Where it says, even as I shall pour water, so it goes back up. You got to keep going up to get to the subject of the matter. And rain upon dry ground, and I shall pour my spirit upon your offspring. So we have our answer, offspring, your offspring. That's Yisrael, Jacob, Yeshurun. So the offspring of Jacob. This is the things that they will do after that. So just bring that point up.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's what's up. I'm gonna keep it rolling.
Don't forget Mercy in the queue though.
Oh yeah. So if you done and nobody else had to say, I'll open up the floor for Brother Mercy. All right, nobody saying that? I guess my seconds are quick. All right, Brother Mercy, you're live.
I think the appropriate name would be Jacob, since Jacob was blind when he blessed the two sons Manasseh and Ephraim, and then his father Isaac was in old age when he blessed Jacob and Esau. The blindness seems to run in the family, the natural, literal blindness. And it seems to run at the time when they're handing out blessings. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The blindness, and then when they start to bless, they bless in their old age when they're blind. And so, that happened with Isaac, that happened with Jacob. Also, I wanted to point out with Jonah, when he wanted to deliver the message to the Ninevites, he didn't want to go. And, he wasn't in the best attitude, but the Most High was still successful to use him to save the Ninevites, even though Jonah didn't want to go. And Jonah seemed to be very rebellious in his mission to the Ninevites. It had to be swallowed by a whale and spit up and some pretty nasty stuff in order to for him to, I guess, do what the Most High wanted him to do. I just thought to bring those points out, how the Most High uses his servants. He used Isaac when he was blind to bless Jacob and Esau, and used Jacob to bless Manasseh and Ephraim when he was blind, and he used Jonah when he was rebellious. So it seems like his servant seems to be blind and rebellious is when he uses them. So I just wanted to just bring that out, and that's it.
That was pretty good. He kind of, hit on some things, and I would say that I have seen accounts, and this, multiple accounts even before this, that the Most High uses people, and they not perfect. You know what I'm saying? So, like Shema was saying about being, perfect is a different sense of what y'all thinking, because he also said, "Who was blind as he is who is perfect." It was in the same verse in I think it's 42. It's either 42 or 43. But he said, "Who is blind as him who is perfect." He called him perfect and blind in the same aspect. But like I say, I agree with Brother Mercy saying, you don't have to be, the person doesn't have to be what we thinking qualifies us, but we all human. So our qualifications and somebody, true heart on how they really, will get down for the Most High is totally different. Because we'll try to qualify somebody and say, oh, well, he's not or she's not, something depending on what your moral status is. Like somebody, oh, he drinks beers. He can't be a servant of the Most High. Oh, she drinks wine. He can't be a servant of the Most High because she drinks wine. When there's no scripture that says you can't, and they're not dealing with idolatry. They're not doing none of that stuff. That's what sometimes people put their own grasp too. And the Most High use anybody, so he do what he want to do. That's at the end of the day. He do what he want to do. So I'm gonna let any of you brothers say what you want to say, or.
No, y'all hit on. Oh yeah, okay. I'm making sure I'm not muted. Y'all hit on some good stuff, man. Definitely tackled the watering part that I wanted to bring out. Or by spirit, outpouring the spirit. And then Mercy just brought out something interesting too about the whole blind and blessing. I thought that was pretty interesting. Did anybody have any extra to add on that? I know you just said, something about it, but can we go deeper with that? What's y'all thoughts on what he brought out as far as the blind and then the blessing?
I per se, you know what I'm saying? More so, I see where he's going with the spiritual aspect. He's in the spirit today. He's focusing on the spiritual aspect of things, which is cool. I really don't have anything to expound on that because I'm really focusing on the context of what's being said, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him going into a spiritual aspect. The only thing I do want to say is that I just want to thank Brother Mercy for giving me a song concept for bringing up Jonah and him being stubborn and not want to go to Nineveh. So I thank you for that. So that's gonna probably be something on the next album. People got that Jonah spirit. The Most High want to say to other nation, they ain't trying to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, Brother Mercy.
Sorry, sometimes you got to give me 2 seconds to try to make sure that I'm off. Kind of get off mute. But that is good because I just got something from there. Like, and you're right, a lot of people don't even think about the fact that he wouldn't save the whole nation and ain't had nothing to do with Israel. And I know a lot of people think that he created this whole earth to destroy everybody but Israel. But I don't know how you guys think, wanted to take a little pause real quick, just to ask y'all what y'all thought. What are y'all thoughts on this prophecy? What do you think this fits? Because it talks about like, okay, hold on. Let me show you the verses that I'm like, okay. I'm gonna go back to 43 since we kind of brought it up, and it was talking about give up the north, woo woo, and then it said let all the nations be gathered together. Now, that's in 9. Let the people be assembled who the money and declare this. Show us the former things, like, and there's a question. Let them bring forth their witnesses and let us justify, and let them hear and say it is true. Okay, and then we know that in 42, it was talking about, bringing judgment to the Gentiles, that would be the nations. All right, and waiting for the law. I'm trying to figure out, because I know some might say, well, it's the 10 tribes and such and such. The 10 tribes are dispersed. Possibility. I'm just trying to see where you guys possibly think on where this is fitting in, especially talking about being a light to the Gentiles, just the things that we've been talking about. I'm just repeating some of these verses that is talking about, Israel or Jacob or the servant being an example to the other nations. I'm open. Let that question kind of go around. Y'all can tell me what y'all think. Where y'all think this fitting in? Do y'all think this could possibly be some down the road? Because like what I said in trying to think about how I brought it out. Where it says, he shall not fail to be scourged till he set judgment in the earth, and the owl shall wait on his law. Like I said, I haven't seen that. I know we've been keeping stuff in context and stuff like that. I mean, I could wait to see if it ever come out, but I'm just saying off the top of my head, in history, I don't know if that ever happened. So I'm going to mute my mic, but I'm passing the mic to see what y'all thoughts are on it, or if you have any.
Thoughts on what exactly? Because I caught a few different things you were saying. Like, what exactly did you want us to comment on?
Y'all thinking these prophecies is fitting in? And like, 42 starts out talking about the servant and the things that he's going to do. He's going to be a light to the Gentiles. He's going to be, and then 4, he shall not fail. All these things are saying he's going to be like this. Do you think this is a prophecy for now, later?
My answer is this. This is my answer. The vision of Isaiah, son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. That's my answer.
But it didn't happen then. What I'm saying is that didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
Now, this is after exile. Now, them kings died, and we know that they went into exile. This is stuff that he said, but we read in Kings, they got taken away. Them times of them kings, they got snatched up. And then Babylon came, and then we about that, we know what happened in Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar. But I'm saying, this say he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. That's got to be after exile. And Isaiah didn't live through exile, and neither did any of them kings in the first chapter.
Okay.
We could say maybe after the first bring back is a possibility. And that's why I was talking about, is this for the earth or just the land? Is this all nations or the 10 tribes? I mean, it's so many possibilities that they can go in the head. So I was just kind of touching based on, like a little thought process of those two. My bad, I was a little vague with the question when I rephrased it, Shema. That's my fault.
Let me know when I can
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Hold on. All right, so where is this thing at? All right, so let me see, 14. Wait a minute. 14, verse 14, chapter 43 speaks of, thus said the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, for your sake I send to Babylon. I will bring down all her bars, and the Chaldees shall raise their voice in lamentation. That's in the verse prior. We know Babylon came in and snatched them up. It's saying that they're going to be in lamentation. So that's paying them back for them coming to snatch them. So with what we read in Kings, 2 Kings, and up to this point so far, we trying to I guess find a placement for this in the timeline. My personal, by me reading that verse and my personal thoughts at this point, so that was the chapter prior to this one, before you just said, and within all the stuff that's been said, he's saying that he gonna redeem them. You know what I'm saying? We seen all the things during them times of them kings, of him speaking about it, and what we read in Kings is that, you know what I'm saying, somebody came in. Who was the one? Assyria came in. Babylon came in the end. So we somewhere around that time frame. He's saying that, don't worry, I'll be with you. These things are happening to you or will happen to you, but I'm going to gather you. So like you said, the first exile, Assyria came in and brought other people in the land and took some of them out. So they would be in the Isles. They did a swap, you know what I'm saying? So some of them ain't even in the land no more. So some of them are out there. Who is it applying to? I just believe it's applying to the nation that he brought in to chasten them. But at the same time, he's saying, he talked about, let's sit down and talk about it. Shammai talked about the remnant. There was a remnant left in the land. So I think it's dealing with all that going on at that time. You know what I'm saying? And with their offspring later on. But not like a far off, but to deal with, because like you said, it's going to be another captivity after this one. That's something that we're not oblivious to. So this is an ongoing. We also seen it talks about, a stump being cut down and then something growing out of it. A second thing about burning something. So we know this something is going to repeat itself, basically. So that's my thoughts on that.
So you think, like I say, the nations that they're talking about, I know when he's speaking this, you know what I'm saying, and what he's saying. Now, this could be, as far as some scholars would say, that this seems to be wrote in an exilic period. And that's what a lot of, you hear a lot of people say that. It will break up Isaiah in 3 sections. And it would seem like this is, from the way he's speaking, it would seem like he was already in exile. And you'll hear some people probably say, that's their proof that he didn't write it. I'm not going there. That's not what I'm saying. But the way he's speaking is a little different. If you could tell it's a little bit more dramatic, like it's like right there in front of his face. In which that wouldn't be anything strange, the fact that it's prophets, and that's how they, they kind of are very descriptive to the T a lot. So that wouldn't be nothing new. But my point is saying, yeah, he talked about he's going to save them. And he's talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I'm going to say. I wanted to see if, okay, he told him not to fear not. I'm just looking at his 41 previously, too. Okay, so my question would be this, regardless. Hold on. He's going to be judgment to the Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? Then. That Jacob going to be judging. And if we don't know, we don't know. And then it's talking about, don't be discouraged. The owl shall wait for his teachings. Now, for me, I'm looking at prophecies, and I'm looking at, all right, now I see that this prophecy, we've been deep on this, but before I go to a little more of an understanding, I just want to see, because we don't have a full picture. I'm not saying we do. I'm not giving you, we have to keep reading, and we have to get a little bit deeper in this book to understand to a totality, but then I'm trying to figure out who are these Gentiles he's bringing judgment to, and is this really talking about the world, their world, the Middle East, their land? It's referencing these other nations, or is he just talking about the 10 tribes? And this is a personal, it could be a personal opinion or whatever, because in the 10 tribes, it could be another nation. They're dissembled amongst the other nations and stuff like that. So we know they got snatched up and went to Assyria first. That was the big thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying he could be talking to them too, or about them. So I'm not throwing that possibility out. Either we know that the 10 is already gone, and Isaiah speaking into Judah.
Let's do this. So me and you just had a conversation this week about the word judgment. Judgment could mean a punishment-wise or a verdict, or it could mean justice. That's what we said, right? So we don't even know from that point what type, but as we read through the context, him saying he with them, he going to redeem them, that seemed like something's going to be done. They're going to be judged. They waiting for the law. It could have something to do with, like you saying, we know that some of them been snatched up out of the land and taken into. When I look at nation Goyim, I'm looking at nation. It said that Yaakov was a Eremi. You know what I'm saying? And we identified that they said that because that's the region he was living in at the time. So when it say nation, to me, it got something to do with regions, lands. So if you are, no matter what your bloodline is, if you living in a certain region, you're going to be considered that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up in Germany, you black, you come from a black family, they going to say you German no matter what. Israel. They might not be of the bloodline of Israel, but they of their region, so they're Israeli. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, like, that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? As I have continued to grow in my understanding of certain terms. So when they say judgment and they say the isles or the islands, they're going to wait on the law or whatever, or for his word or whatever. Like, it could be talking, is a possibility. It's just talking about the people that was taken away and that's out there. But either way, it's talking about that nation, period. So if people want to conform to that way, you know what I'm saying, then it is what it is. Just like us, as we know it wasn't no America, so to say, during this time. So I can't say it's talking about America or whatever, you know what I'm saying, in context, but, you know what I'm saying, we do have his word, you know what I'm saying, and we here in America, if we want to adhere to his word, we can. So there's no limitations to who can adhere to his word. So to me, it's really not a issue of who exactly he's talking about. I just think it's the regions that he's talking about that's waiting and all that stuff like that. And that's, like you said, we don't have all the information right now, so that's all I can really give.
All right. I'll take that. Now, I'm just asking before we move on your thoughts on some of them, some of these terminologies. Either way is fine. I mean, you know how I think about it. But getting multiple understandings, and that's what this is about anyway. So I like that one. Something to take into consideration. As we start going on, this would be something that we look, you know, because it could reveal itself through the scriptures as we see that things do. So just something to look out for. I don't know if Shema, if you had anything.
No, I'm just soaking it in right now, listening to y'all.
All right. Now, who just brought out a point? Was it me?
Yeah. So I think it would be Shema if he had some, but he said he just soaking it in. So if he don't got nothing, I got some.
It's all you.
Hold on, though, real quick, before y'all go, man. Verse 21. Remember these things, Jacob, for you are my servant. I fasten you to be my servant. Israel, do not forget me. I don't know what it's saying, KJV or the Safaria, but I don't know, man. That just, you know, like, do not forget me, right? It's like the Creator is telling you not to. You know, it's like we are messed up people in general. But like, how can you forget something that has created you? That's kind of like, and when I say this isn't to say anybody that, you know, might have a big, huge falling out with their parents. I don't know anybody's personal situation. But it's kind of like me saying, I'm forgetting my mom or forgetting my dad. My mom told me when I was little, because my dad really wasn't around like that, she said she used to get upset because even though he wasn't around for the period of time, however long it was, whenever I knew he was coming or whenever I thought he was coming, I'd be standing at the door looking because I didn't forget him. Because I believe one of the things it has to do with is he created me, or he was a part of that creation. So these had to be messed up people, even today, man. You know, how can we forget it that has created us, or he who has created us? How is that possible? I don't get it. I don't understand it. But that's when I read that, it kind of hit home. Then he says, 22, I have wiped away your willful sins. Well, this is what this is saying. Like a thick mist, and your transgressions like a cloud. Return to me, for I will have redeemed you. What's returning to him? A lot of people say, man, you know, I know I'm fast forwarding when I say this, but it's no way to return to the Father unless, you know, you do it through a specific Savior that, you know, we know of, Yeshua, Jesus. You know, forgive me my brothers for bringing this out, but I just, off this part, it's like he's telling us to return to him. This is before using any type of prop or anything to return to him. So what does he mean when he said this? He says, return to me, for I will have redeemed you. Isn't this saying that it is a way or was a way to return to him regardless? And for those of listening, I'm speaking objectively. I say that a lot. I'm not speaking from a subjective standpoint. So you will not know what's my belief if I believe in Jesus or not believe in Jesus. Okay, so I just want to put that stuff out there. This is a real question. This is an objective question to have us think. What is he saying right here? Return to me, for I will have redeemed you. How? How do we return to him? This is before the first century.
You want me to tell you how?
I'm done.
You want me to tell you how?
Well, go ahead.
Hey, we got 2 in the queue, so I don't know how you want to do this yourself. I could respond.
Let them come
next.
first.
Okay.
Before yourself responds and give me the answer, I want to see if they're in the queue
to
answer my question. I want to see what they say.
That'll work.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know who pops in the queue, bro?
Yeah. I got it. I work the boards. I know you flipping through screens and stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
First we have, I believe, is Hokma. You are live.
Oh, can you hear me, Justin?
Yes.
Okay, good. This must have been right on time for me because, never mind, we'll tell you why. But anyway, as far as how can we redeemed and how do we return to the Father, and I know some people probably be like, I didn't even know I wasn't with the Father or the Father left me or anything like that. But I don't have a scripture to back this up. But just like we have our own children, we do eventually turn our back on our children. You keep on doing what you're doing. You keep on being disobedient. Okay, I'm gonna leave you out there to get bit. And then when you stop, when you're ready to come back home and do right, the door is always open. It's the same way with with the Heavenly Father. We only could do so much before He just like, okay, go on out there and I'm gonna let you see. I'm gonna go on out there and let you see. But then once you get tired of being disobedient, His arms is open. And that just gave me the thought about the prodigal son. His father was glad to see when he came back, but he had to go back where he knew it was good. Like, okay, I got to go do my father's ways. And so that's just my answer to how do we get redeemed. It's being obedient. And I know a lot of people seem to think, oh, I might have my downfalls, or things might happen, but then I also get these blessings that my fingers in quotation marks, they call them blessings because they didn't got this. Or the Father, He lets them see another day. But it's being obedient, and I'm obedient to that word, and obedient to what He told you to do yourself, because what He told you to do yourself does not always mean for the next person to do it. He didn't gave us this word how to live too, but He also speaks to us, and He also tells us what to do. And I'm living it right now. There's things He told me to do. When I don't do it, I get my spankings, and then He'll tell me, what I tell you to do, Kisha? All right, Daddy, I heard you. And I go do it. It's the same way. But that's just my answer to your question, Shema.
Thank you for that. That was good. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I wanted to say something according to that. That's when I said wow, because that go back to, like we said, we made in His image, and it's deeper than what we think. Because if you was ever have a child, and you got one that acts up, you'll know exactly what it means or how the father will feel, because she said, well, as a parent, they get to acting up. You might have to turn your back on them. Say, well, go ahead, be hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what the results eventually going to be. And then when they come back, you open them up with open arms. It's like she used her house, so that house would have been the land. And while you in that house, you eating good off the land, especially when you're in mom's house. And I know, a lot of times, well, not everybody, but, the terminology when you go to mom's house, or maybe for some people, grandma's, for some people, auntie, whatever, they got the food, or they be feeding you, and, you know what I mean, you got a good, you got a bed, you got this, you had that. I'm just giving the terminology, you know what I mean? You being able to go somewhere where you was accepted, and as long as you did right, you was good. And you had time to get your progress and, get your life together and so on and so forth. But then, of course, a lot of people don't want to do that nowadays. They want to do what they want to do, and we see the results, later on. I mean, I was one of those people, started doing what I wanted to do. Wasn't the conventional thing to do, I guess, if you want to say. But if y'all understand what I'm saying, and I'm pretty sure anybody that does have a child has talked to their child and why do you do this? Why and just don't understand why their child is doing something just to do it or whatever the case may be. That's deep to me, basically. Like, that's deep. Because we get a taste of what he goes through sometimes, at different stages sometimes. Like, he doesn't, I'm pretty sure Sister Hawk didn't want to do that. Don't want to say, well, go ahead. Don't want to say, if need be, well, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't acting right. Ain't that because, don't no mother just want to just like, I'm just going to kick you out. But you acting up. Now, there's some other cases. I'm not talking about extreme cases or whatever, but that's all, man. I was just reflecting off what she said. We can move on. My bad.
All right, next we got Brother Mercy. Sister Hokma, if you would, just press 1, take you out the queue. If you want to come back, just hit 1 again. Brother Mercy, you're live.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in Shama's translation, it uses the word redeem. And, redeem means to buy back or to make a purchase or payment. So, therefore, there's a certain responsibility in returning. This is why we don't return, Shema, because sometimes there's a responsibility. Sometimes there is a payment that must be made. That's what they meant. If you lost the land, you had to buy the land back. Okay? So, or if there were debts associated with the land, you had to pay the debts off in order to recuperate the land. So there's responsibility. You might hire some workers to sharecrop the land or harvest the crops or whatever. There may be responsibility. There may be something to do. Now, as far as living in your mama's house or your father's house or whoever you grew up with, the reason why people like the prodigal son may not want to continue in that venue is because there are certain rules that you had to obey. In my house, there was a curfew. Brother Mercy wanted to stay out all night. He didn't want to be in the house by a certain time, So, because Brother Mercy thought when he was 18, he was grown, So, I had to get my own house. Because those were the rules in my house. So, you obey the rules until you get your own house. But, like the prodigal son, he asked his father for his portion of his inheritance, and he didn't go buy a house with his inheritance or, it seemed like he just went out and had fun. So when he did that, he wasted the inheritance. It was only after he got broke and didn't have nothing left, he then decided, oh, man, it was better in my father's house. But better to what? Having nothing. Having nothing working in a pigsty is living farmhouse is better than that. People skip over that part. But he's made a comparison to his current situation, which was in a pigsty or working in a pig but broke. He said father's house is better than that. So I just want to make that clear. So it was not until he was broken till he realized it was better in his father's house. But when he had his inheritance, when he had his portion, when he got his, got some little money in his pocket, he thought it was better to leave. So I just wanted to say that sometimes when we got a little money in our pockets, we think it's better to leave. And so, but when we get broke, we think it's better to go back. So, in my translation, it says your sins will be like the clouds, thinking about that, we fluctuate like the clouds. Let me read my translation. I like my translation. It says, verse, 22? Yeah, turn back to me. I rescued you and swept away your sin as though they were clouds. And we know the clouds move. If you look up in the sky, you'll see the clouds moving quickly across the sky. And what moves the clouds? The wind, right? The wind just blows the cloud along. And to see how light the clouds are very light. They're very light. And so, and they're just easily just blown across. So, it's nothing for the Most High to blow away our sins. And I just wanted to, say it takes a little effort for him to do so. But as clouds are blown away, more clouds are coming. So I just wanted to say that since we relate the clouds to sin. But that's all I wanted to say about that a lot of times going back is not easy to do because going back sometimes we have to see how it's better to go back. And a lot of times going back ain't better until we're like the prodigal son when we're broke. So that's all.
Good stuff for both of the people who spoke. We thank you for your input. I want to also mind you, I only got a couple things. There are points, but I have nothing deep because we are almost done also. So if anybody's in the queue or want to get in the queue, just I was about to say, just hold it till we done, and if you want to press 1, we'll get to you.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna answer Shemai's question and couple it with a point, and then I got like 1 or 2 other points after that. But I'll try to make this quick. So in answering Shemai's question, how do we turn back to the Most High? I think it's important to go up to the context in which is dealing with what he's saying before he even say that. So I would like to read a little bit of that. It says, do not be frightened. This is in 8. Do not be frightened, do not be shaken. Have I not from of old predicted to you? I foretold, and you are my witnesses. Is there any God then but me? There is no other rock. I know none. Verse 9. The maker of idols all work to no purpose, and the things they treasure can do no good, as they themselves can testify. They neither look nor think, and so they shall be shamed. 10. Who would fashion a god or cast a statue that can do no good? All right, jumping down, 17. Of the rest, he makes a god. This is talking about them getting somebody to be able to, like a person that is a craftsman or whatever. Of the rest, he makes a god, his own carving. He bows down to it, worship it. He prays to it and cries, save me, for you are my God. 18. They have no wit or judgment. Their eyes are besmeared, and they see not. Their minds, and they cannot think. Jump into 20. He pursues ashes. and dull mind, he led him astray, and he cannot save himself. He never says to himself, the thing in my hand is a fraud. Then we get to 21. Remember these things, O Jacob. For you, O Israel, are my servant. I fashion you. You are my servant, O Israel. Never forget me. 22. I'll wipe away your sins like a cloud, your transgressions like mist. Come back to me, for I redeem you. Look, what are you coming back from? This state that he just broke down to them of not thinking, not looking into your hands and saying, this thing in my hand is a fraud. They crying and weeping to these statues talking about save me. He telling them to turn from that and come back to me, because when they crossed, going back to the context, when they crossed through that Red Sea and he redeemed them, it wasn't no idol with them. What was these idols at? You didn't need no idol. Why y'all keep going back to these idols? They can't do nothing. They can't think. They can't do nothing for you. As you can see, come back to me. Leave them idols alone and come back to me. That's all he's saying. That's all you got to do is leave the idols alone and come back to him, because he is the one who redeemed you, because that idol wasn't there when I brought your ancestors out of Mizraim. Even though they want to accredit it to a golden calf, that golden calf wasn't with them. How you going to credit the golden calf when the golden calf wasn't with you when you crossed the water? That's the big message. That's my answer to Shema, and that's a point for me, and I render the flow.
Good stuff, because you handled my point inside of, well, you know, a couple things I had inside of there with 8 and 9. And then you also read right before 21, which was my point. So I'm going to go down. Kind of talking to myself, too. All right, and 26, I'm going to go 26 and 28, the last two verses. That confirms the word of his servant and performance. You know, I'm going to go to 24 so you understand what it says. Thus says Lord thy Redeemer, he that formed me from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things stretch forth the heavens and earth and spread the earth by myself. Okay, I have to read that. Say 26 says that confirms the word of his servant and performs his counsels of his messengers, and says to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, and the cities of Judah you shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed places thereof. Now, notice how he's talking about this land being inhabited again. So at this point, it must be messed up. And now I will raise up, or at least at the point of reference to what he's talking. And you shall be built and raised up in a decayed place. All right, so we know some things did happen as far as in Kings. We know they got taken and all that. And then in 28, that says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple, thy foundation shall be laid. So, if I'm not mistaken, there's the King Cyrus that allowed them to build the city up again. It's history. I ain't really going too far into what we read. I'm not going to no chapters. The history will tell you when the second temple was built. I believe it was what? Am I wrong? Cyrus?
The Cyrus is the king of Persia, and he conquered Babylon. So he coming after the Babylonian captivity, which allowed Israel exiles to return to Jerusalem. So it goes back to that context as well. This is dealing with, because it say during them days, but also is dealing with Yehuda and Jerusalem. So with all that coupled, the events that happened during them kings' times that led to some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the foundation of it is dealing with them kings during their time. But it's some stuff that like I said, that happened after that, but it wasn't immediately within those kings, but it ties to those kings and the things that they was doing. So yes, Koresh.
I want to add too.
I
want to add something with that. I want to add something to that, man. This right here is another account too, where Abba, or a guy, right, through his prophet, prophesied an actual name in which the prophecy spoke about. And this is 2 centuries after Isaiah's time. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Hmm? Oh, Cyrus was 2 centuries after Isaiah's time. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Based off of what my research, that's what my research shows.
Right.
So what I'm saying is he prophesied. He was able to prophesy his name, and it was 2 centuries before Cyrus came about.
If low key, what is that word for shepherd? He is my shepherd. What does it say in y'all renditions?
What verse is that?
The last one, 28, 44 and 28.
Mine says who says of Cyrus, he is my. It says he is my shepherd.
Okay.
He is my shepherd. He will fulfill all my desires.
I know what a shepherd is.
Are you asking me Hebrew? What it say?
Across the board, no, I'm saying I know what a shepherd is. I'm just seeing if it says shepherd across the board.
Let me see what it says in Safari.
My version says shepherd.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's all my points. That's all I have.
But I will speak on that. I will say that Cyrus is a Persian king, and he's calling him his shepherd. And so that just lets you know that it don't have to be somebody from Israel being used to shepherd the people, because as we'll come to find, he allows them to return to the Most High's land, which fulfills what the Most High is saying here, that he will bring them back and that he will rebuild the cities and stuff, as you pointed out, Yosef. So I think that's very important to understand that concept, that somebody else can be considered a shepherd. It don't have to be somebody from Israel or Yehuda to do these things. Anybody could play a role in this to fulfill the Most High's word. But if he identify who it is, then that's who it's going to be. So we see clearly that it's Cyrus or Koresh. In the Hebrew.
And I wanted to just add a little bit. Cyrus was known for conquering people and letting them keep their gods. So it made it different. He let them go worship at their places and do what they wanted to do, as he was conquering over these people. Just a little attribute of it then also. I'm not trying to take away from, I hope that didn't sound wrong. I'm just saying it was the right king too. You know what I mean? He had respect for everybody's belief system and gods and stuff like that. You know, so I guess he was like the nice king. So it was like, if that's what you want to call it. But everybody wants to conquer. So that's just a little backdrop. I'm looking in the queue. I don't see anybody in the queue. We only got like a couple minutes left. I ain't had no more points. And you and everybody said what they need to say, we can go to closing statement. I started out since I'm the host, and I'll let it go down the line, and yada, you can end us out. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned. I'll probably post the video on some of the things about the servant, and I'll post it to the group and on my page and other pages or whatever. Just like to thank all the participation. Hope to see you next week on Shabbat. We'll be without one of our members, so we'll make do. And that's all. Y'all have a good Shabbat.